You're listening to the Jaybird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and fansite.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-host Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Good evening, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to the Jaybird Watching Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Borden, and with me, as always, my wonderful, lovely team, because we know how to hit, unlike some certain baseball teams. Liz McGuire, Jason Lyons, with me tonight, as always. What's up, fellas? How we doing?
I'm really good. That's my update. That's it. We're in a week of night games, so it's good for Jason in the West Coast. He gets like actual real-time baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be sleepy and weird all week.
Yeah, it's a big day here. It's a big day here in the old Lions household. It is both Jet and Carter's as being twins. It's their birthday today.
Well, birthday.
We haven't quite started the festivities. We got short ribs on the make, and Kim's upstairs icing a carrot cake, and they got up and got their gifts, and they were devastated that they had to go to school. But my mom took them out for a big birthday lunch brunch. It's a big day. It's one of those ones where you're just, we worked very hard to get them, and I'm very proud of them. So it's a cool day.
Cool guy. Hold on. So I'm going to ask some questions about twins. Okay. Do they share a birthday cake?
Because they both like carrot cake, it's much easier for us to just make one gigantic. My wife makes one time at Easter, I'll get a picture of it. My wife has resurrected a tradition that my grandmother did, which she made this big bunny cake that we would have at Easter every year. And my wife has now taken the helm up to do that. So what we do now, because Easter's not that far away from the boys' birthdays, is she makes two. So the second one sits in the freezer, and then, I pulled it out this morning. It's ready to rip. So if it's carrot cake, watch your fingers. You'll lose a tip.
Love it. Do you, is there raisins in the carrot cake or no?
No, they hate that.
Okay, thank you.
I like raisins personally. I'm a raisin guy, but they can't stand them. They hate them.
Okay, that's it. I think that was the questions about being twins. So they don't like raisins. They got the same cake. There's agreement, alignment on carrot cake.
There is big alignment on carrot cake.
And they trim their hair like Bo Bichette did, would be the other one.
Yes. So Carter allowed, I don't know anybody who, looks on my social, there's a lot of pictures of them. Carter had this beautiful, long, flowing blonde hair, which he allowed one of his friends, Nick Kelly, to shave. So he shaved his head. It's like a weird rite of passage for high school boys to shave each other's heads. It's sweeping the nation right now. And then Jet decided to go against the trend and not allow people to shave his head. But he did get I think he was down about where I was, maybe even farther.
Yep.
He got it all taken off to a nice short summer cut. So, yeah, very, very Bo Bichette-ish. If that's a word. Is that a word? Bichette-ish?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Bo Bichette-ish.
Bo Bichette-ish.
Ish. Bo Bichette-I?
No, Bo Bichette-I.
Bo Bichette-ian.
Oh, good. I like that.
Yeah.
There you go. It's like Romanish. That's what I was going for. That was my mantra. So now that we've gotten all the important stuff out of the way, let's talk about this team. Liz and I got to see this team firsthand over the weekend, and I'll say certain incredible levels of choking. It has continued so far into this road trip, which is going to be a fun, long West Coast week. As Jason is, like I said, going to reap the benefits of being able to at least watch normal daytime baseball on the West Coast. But we're in Anaheim. We're going to face Yusei Kikuchi tonight. So things first, let's talk Yusei Kikuchi a little bit. Let's have some fun.
I'm going to juke back. Me and Craig were at that game on Saturday where it's like we're against the guards. Cool, like that. We're winning 3-0. Not a lot's going on. Like we're getting hits. It's decent. Some stuff's happening. Whatever. No, last inning, Jimmy Garcia pooched it, and we lost 8-3 or 5-3. It was like the grand slam of it. It was bad. It was like a bad time.
It's really reminiscent of yesterday. Just saying.
Oh my God. I went to bed and
Early.
I was like, they can't drop this game. They can't do it. I couldn't believe the score.
Yeah.
What?
It was horrible to watch. I got home from work. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, oh, okay, Jimmy's coming out. All set. No problems. No questions asked. Then the bases are, like you said, Liz, loaded again, it seemed like. And next thing you know, okay, great. 2 guys score. We're losing by 1. And then Hoffman comes out and lays up the monster home run. And, it's like, oh, great. Both of our guys suck tonight.
Yep.
So I got 2 things.
Jimmy Garcia's been on a roughie. Go ahead.
Yeah. I got 2 things in regards to sort of what's going on and talk about Kikuchi. So I think that you guys, and we can explore this a little bit. I feel like the bullpen is being mismanaged right now based on the fact that the Jays can't get hits. I know Gibbons is doing what he can, or Gibbons, geez Louise, Schneider's doing what he can.
You guys from then.
We're still thinking, bud.
Yeah, I know. I think that was me trying to manifest that. But I mean, Jimmy Garcia is tired. I mean, he's tired, and Hoffman probably shouldn't be tired because he hasn't pitched that much. But it takes a lot to come out and rip gas for a couple of batters. They're tired. You can see it. And the Jays bats have got to wake up to try and get these guys a little bit easier. Although we have blown, like they are making a new sport of trying to blow leads, in the most creative ways possible. But it's difficult to watch. And then I don't know if you guys saw or not, but did you guys see that the interview with Kikuchi and Hazel May, where he says that the Jays didn't even make him an offer? Like, what? Like, what in the actual?
Especially, yeah, it's in that ballpark, bud, because at the end of the day, one way or the other, no matter how you slice it, this team needed starting pitching. So to be able to get your guy back at the end of the day, I figured there would have been, we got Jimmy back, right? Why not bring Cooch back?
Boggles my mind. Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I feel like the pitching isn't. I mean, we had some pickups, which I think are okay. They're shuffling the deck a little bit. They made some moves with Buffalo today. It's interesting. I read the interview, or I read the article, Buster Only's article, about, he was basically talking about, the majors. And then he said, all of the pundits, all of the people I talked to, all of the baseball people cannot put their finger on what is wrong with the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, it's gone past the point now of it just being one thing or it's deep. It's whatever it is deeply rooted in the Jays just not being a good team at this point right now. Everything else, like paper, everything else tells us the Jays should be the top of their division. They should be mopping the floor with these teams. And yet, here we sit, on
games under
May
500.
7th. Yeah. I mean, it's,
Four.
When you comparatively look at the teams that they're in the same ballpark of for wins and the way they've been playing, I mean, it's the absolute bottom of the barrel. And, as a fan, I find it's starting to get insulting to our intelligence and our baseball acumen. It's tough to take right now.
Well, you didn't know that Brandon Fisher is going to be the savior of this bullpen at the age of 24
I know
years
he's
old?
Not. I know he's not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was part of the, I'll just say, onslaught of moves that the Blue Jays made today, because it's not every day you see that you make 5 player moves in one day. So Brandon Fisher was the one that they selected his contract, bring him up from Buffalo. Like I said, he's 24. I'm struggling to find his stats even. They bring back up Jonathan Clase, and they send down Dylan Tate, who, by the way, who's been doing pretty well, and Alan Roden. Not surprised on that one, unfortunately, as much as I was a fan of Alan Roden.
Me too.
And then they DFA'd Stuart Baroa was the other one that was
surprising.
I
was surprised by that.
For Adam Fisher.
I didn't see that one.
So, yeah. That is the 5 player moves that the Blue Jays made today before the game. And obviously the Brandon Fisher thing is to get somebody that actually, might represent a certain level of fresh to actually come out of the bullpen tonight. So, but
yeah,
as far as this goes,
it's super frustrating. It's super frustrating. I'm I feel like Craig, you and I have done this cast for a long time. Liz, you've been around for long enough to know that we sort of hit these like 4 to 5 frustrating points a year. And those frustrating points, we're moving the goalposts on those. Those are getting closer and closer every single year now, where we're all right. Spring training's like next year. We're just going to be hammering on them in spring training, being like, this is the worst. You're the worst. You're off. Like, I mean, but what's our? I'm starting to feel like a Yankees fan, like where I just turn on, like you're like Fisher. I'm like, he's not going to help. But
that's. Yeah, I agree. It's like because you get really like a snake, you're like a cobra, a fussy cobra. But like that's the thing. It's like also I will say this, like I'm so used to this happening. I'm just like, yeah, maybe next year. And like it's trash. But, like there's something in this lineup that like, yeah, on paper we're supposed to be good, but we're never good. You put us all together and it's like a power suck. And it's so crazy because like even when we were a less good team, we hit better. You know what I mean? Like years ago, I don't know. Let's see, what were we doing in 2019? I mean, what was the year when we had like, it was like Randall Gritchick and like, who was the guy? It was like Jan Harvest Solarte and like a bunch of rando dudes. And that was a rebuild year. Those were like rebuild years. And I'm pretty sure we were hitting better then. Maybe I'm wrong.
At that time we were. April was a very good month for that team.
Yeah.
We're like, oh my God, they're going to run all the way. I think you might have been right. That might have been 2019.
It was a year we had like, it was Jan Harvest Solarte was on that team, and there was a guy who looked like Mr. Conductor. I think he was an Astro. After that, he looked like Mr. Conductor.
Mr. Conductor.
And what was his name? Was it Solarte? No, it wasn't Solarte. I just said that. Anyway, but he was there's a bunch of Cuban guys in the team with names that started with Y. And that was the year we had Socrates Burrito. Anyway, who was not a good player.
Socrates Burrito. He had a moment of glory last year where he had like 4 or 5 games in a row in the major leagues that he had a home run in it, and then he fell off the face of the planet again. I know that's horrifically shocking. God, I'm trying to remember what year that was, Liz, because it wasn't 2017 because we.
Go 2019. Who was in 2019?
I'm going to 2019. The year we were 67-95.
Yeah, who was on that team?
Well, this will give you who's telling on that one, and I know who it is now. The best WAR on that team was Kevin Biggio in 2019 with a 3.1 WAR, followed by the one I think that Liz is talking about here, Freddie Galvis.
It wasn't not talking about Freddie Galvis. I'm not talking about Freddie Galvis, but Freddie Galvis had the most lovely red cheeks. He's cute guy. Dreadlocks and red cheeks. Love it.
And he caught the ball barehanded twice. Not once.
Not once.
Twice.
2 times.
2 times.
2 times.
It's not Billy McKinney or Eric Sogard, Derek Fisher.
I like
Jonathan Richard Urania.
Maybe it was 2018. Anyway.
Yeah. Because I just laid off all the rough people we had on that lineup. Like I said, I think it's funny that Eric Sogard is listed as a backup player on here. Still had one of the highest WARs on the team.
Yeah, like that's the thing.
I went to Vladdy debut night that year. I had fun.
Well, I was on that night too. Somebody sent me a baseball card from that night, like a Topps Now card, which I have, which is signed. It was apparently quite fancy.
It hurts my baseball fandom that is still the only walk-off home run I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, really? They're awesome. You should try it. Get some more. Have some more. They're awesome.
I'm there all the time. It's not always here, but it is what it is. Well, but I don't know. That's just how it was. But yes, we are in that perpetual death loop, it feels like. And we've had that talk of Blue Jays management, this thing. I got to give Jason a chance to weigh in, Liz, because he wasn't on the show last week to talk with us. Are you thinking massive change with the manager position, Jason? We talked out the Citoism thing with Liz and I last week. I'm just curious to give you a chance to weigh in because we didn't get a chance to talk about that with you last week.
Yeah,
time for Schneider to go.
It is eerily close if it isn't. I mean, he may have to be, and I feel like this is something that we've spoken about a number of times, but I feel like he may have to fall on the sword at this point. as we've seen, the Jays will not make changes above that. They are really hi Esteban. They're really, adverse to even making a change like getting rid of Mattingly or changing anything that they're like. Even Pete Walker, like there's been lots of talk about replacing Pete Walker. Pete Walker has been there for a long ass time. I mean, a long time. And so
it's the last article I've actually written.
Oh, really?
The last article I wrote for my friend Adam's website called South of the Six, no longer a website anyways, but that was after I left Fansided. The article literally was right when Charlie Montoyo came in, and the name of the article is "How is Pete Walker still here?" And
yeah,
it wasn't
I always
that
wonder
I was,
why
saying he needed to go, but I was like, why? I didn't know. Usually that's the first thing that happens. Go ahead, Liz.
No, that's it. That's fine. That's it. But I think that
I think the big.
I agree.
Yeah. The big thing for me is I don't know what's out there. I mean, it's like I haven't done the research to look at who's available to take his spot if they do gas him. And I don't know if there are quality enough guys at this point that will make an impact on this team. And I'm not sure if it's a young guy. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, the Giants made a big change and went to a young GM, and it seemed to work really well for them. I mean, they're not winning World Series, but they're also, fighting against Godzilla in their own division. So, I mean, you do what you can do against the Dodgers. But, I don't know if and I think we talked about the manager from Buffalo.
You brought
me last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Couple weeks ago.
He has a very successful record in Buffalo. He's an old dude.
Not this year, but
he's but yeah, not this year, but in the past he has. So I mean, who knows at this point what a change like that would make? I mean, it's hard because you can't start sitting the players who are producing, and then the ones who aren't. I mean, they make up the better part of your defense, and let's call a spade a spade. Like, I mean, it's not like the Jays are getting run out of the building. In fact, they've been winning most of these games late into the game coming up. And I mean, if it comes down to having a second arm down there, like, I mean, a lot of teams now aren't relying on one closer, and that day is gone where Mariano Rivera walks out and Sandman plays and he whips 9 balls, whips 9 past you and see you later. Like, I mean, you don't do that anymore. You need 2 setup guys and a closer.
Last night.
What's that?
It happened in Eden last night. One of the Blue Jays young prospects threw an immaculate inning to end the game. Javin Coleman.
Oh, really?
It's been all over social media. There you go. So I got the highlights up on our Twitter account if anybody wants to obviously catch that. So make sure you hit the Birdwatching Twitter account. And but to your point, yeah, what do you do? But I'm short of like, what in the world monster shakeup does this team have to do to rattle the cage a little bit, right? We talked about a couple of weeks ago, having the lollygagger speech level from Bull Durham. What's the thing that moves us over? And it's been mismanaged bullpen. It's been not hitting offense. It's been us lacking on a starting pitching, even eating up innings lately. There hasn't been that one thing to hang your hat on over the last few weeks on and say, hey, you know what? This might be happening, but this one thing is still going well. The wheels are kind of.
I don't know.
We're only 3.5 games out.
That's it.
It's April.
I don't know what. Is the talent there? Like, that's it. Like, we can't hit ourselves out of a paper bag. Like, what is up?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless you're George Springer, apparently, who's somehow found the fountain of youth.
Why can we not hit out of the bag? I don't know. Like, it's like, how do you get guys to hit? Again, I don't know.
I think it comes down to as well, though. Like, I mean, when a team is going, they can recognize the fact that their pitching isn't as strong through the latter part of the game, and they know they've got to put their foot down and they've got to gain more runs. Like, you're looking at, like even the game yesterday, what was it, 3-0 going into the 8th? If you've got an opportunity coming up in the 9th, you have to do every single thing you can do to get more runs on the board. And they seem to do fine through 6, and then they're kind of like,
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll flip a coin and see what happens here. No joke, no pun intended on the Max Scherzer flipping the coin on that terrible umpire India. That was comedy gold, by the way. It was so good. That was
great, though.
So good.
Sorry, the player I was thinking of, the player I was thinking of who looks like Mr. Conductor was a Lidmus Diaz. It was like there was like a time we had a Lidmus Diaz. We had, I don't know, it's like all these kind of no-name dudes. One season that just kind of piled in.
That he does look like Mr. Conductor. I never put 2 and 2 together on that.
I have a photo I blocked up, and I will show you guys later. But like, yeah, the 2018 Jays. I remember being there and watching them, and I was like, "Who are these people?" Because we had just done the rebuild, and I thought, they may not win, but like, that's fine. I don't know who they are. Carry on.
So, carrying on. Like I said, let's go back to a lighter note. Like I said, I'm not excited to see him in an Angels uniform tonight, but I am excited to see these guys actually chit-chat and catch up with Yusei Kikuchi. I think it's funny that the only person, because he's been in the American League for the last 5-6 years at this point with Kikuchi, the only one that's actually barely has any at-bats against Kikuchi is the guy that went yard last night, and Tony Taters.
Tony Taters,
and guess what he did to him? He's went 1 yard off of Yusei Kikuchi.
Already today?
No, not today, but in his career. I'm surprised it was at the Rogers Center. Skydome.
That's it. So my thing is like this. Is like who did we get for Kikuchi in the Kikuchi trade? Who did we get?
Lil Perfido, and Will Wagner. So some of them are current building blocks we got.
Yeah. So I'm like, cool. I'm like, bye. But like, I liked him. I liked hearing Lisa Loeb when he played,
And Jake Bloss. That was the other one.
I liked hearing. Bloss and Wagner, great. And I thought that was a great trade. And I did like hearing Lisa Loeb stay, which is the "you say" in it. I did like that. Girls all around the world like that. The thing with Kikuchi, what I remember Kikuchi is, he was a great pitcher. He did great things for us later on. But even when he wasn't doing good, I'm not mad at Kikuchi, but I remember how much I hated Montoyo. Hated that man. He was the guy who dragged Kikuchi in the media. It was so upsetting and so weird. He just shit on Kikuchi, and all the players rallied around Kikuchi, and they would bring him drinks in the plane. They were super kind to him. I was like, the weirdest thing with Montoyo hanging Kikuchi out to dry. And I thought, this guy's about to go.
And I don't miss our Charlie Montoyo years. And I can't even say that was bridging the gap.
No.
If you want to start where this front office might have started making some bad decisions, look over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why did he suck? Well, why did he suck?
Some people just suck.
Yeah, all right.
We could have had Mark DeRosa at that time. He interviewed for the job back then.
Wasn't
D-Row.
Yeah, see, we had Mark DeRosa as like a guy for Brett Laurie, right? That was correct.
And he was more or less Morinori Kawasaki's translator.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be anchor and give Brett Laurie back when Mark DeRosa was on the team. Anyway, it was weird. Yeah, it didn't work out.
He's flying too high on his Red Bull. Yeah. Crashing into audience members and everything, like flying over the it seemed like there was that weird play every week that it would like fly over the tarp in one of the fields, or he would end up in the stand somehow, or whatever it might have been. So, but it is what it is. But I loved Mark DeRosa, and he's actually World Baseball Classic, he's the Team USA manager. Have they announced Team Canada's manager yet?
He is.
I figure it's Ernie Witt again.
I would assume so.
I'm pumped. I'm so pumped for the World Baseball Classic. It's not even funny. Like, I am pumped.
As a Blue Jay fan in 2025.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Like, I'm stoked to see the Bichette brothers play together. That's good. That's fun.
Brazil still got to make it though, don't they?
Yeah, Brazil's got to make it. But I got drunk and I was like, you were around, Craig, when I was like Instagram messaging with Dante Jr. I was like, I'm so pumped for you, and he's like, thanks, man.
That was too funny. I can't find who's the WBC Team Canada coach at the moment. It's technically saying Ernie Witt. who I love, but it doesn't have a great date either. It's showing it's a bit old.
Ernie may need a job after botching that ball at 3.
Yeah, poor Ernie.
That was rough.
Can we just say that was a world-class play from Kirk? A world-class play with a world-class throw, and then a world-class pooch by Clement. Pooched it. Like, maybe he was just so amazed at the athleticism of Kirk that he was like, oh, that throw could never get here. Oh, it's right on the money. And then,
yeah. I thought that too. It's like, he got spooked. I just like, I didn't expect that.
The radness. Radness.
He's like, he couldn't fathom the radness of the situation, and he just like biffed it.
I know we're from the 90s when you use the word rad.
Radness.
Radness.
We're making new words.
2025 spin on the word rad. Got it.
Don't ask your teachers about that one.
Yeah. So I gotta ask, because that brings up a good question to me, and because honestly, Ernie's been so good defensively, and we all know this, and he's done so many good things. Obviously, that was the complete other end of the spectrum for what we're used to seeing from him in the field, and that was a horrible turning point in the game there for a hot minute there. Does this team have the yips?
All of them, like a collective team.
Are we gonna win the monster yip?
Are we going to win the Gold Glove for Team Yep? We're doing that.
Team Yep. Are we at the level where we can't do like the Chuck Knobloch for the Yankees, trying to throw the ball from second base, like fielding second base to first, where we can't even make the simple anymore?
No, I don't think
that was more or less the downfall of Chuck Knobloch's career at the end of the day. I don't think we're there yet, but it just seems like that, odd things seems to find us, and maybe this is the Bills fan in me and not knowing what real luck is and only knowing bad luck. Don't know. It just feels like that all of a sudden now that you mentioned the Ernie piece there and everything like that. It just felt odd to me. Go ahead, Jason. It sounded like you had something to say.
Well, I just, I feel like as professional athletes, I mean, for us to even joke about them all having the yips, but then you think about some of the people, golf is the most predominant one of it, but there are a lot of baseball players that floated off into obscurity over the years. I would say more baseball players than any other sport I can think of, where a guy was there and then you're like, where the hell is that guy? And then you go look him up, and he's working at a real estate agency in Tuscaloosa, and you're like, what? You were just in the majors like not that long ago. Like, how did that happen? But I mean,
I'm gonna give you the perfect analogy. I gotta go talk to a guy about some white walls. I'll call you right back.
Some white walls. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's so hard, and it's such a fine line to stay in the majors. And I think that the Jays are experiencing, even though we appreciate the kids that have come up from Buffalo, and we've had a pretty decent run. They are not as good as, sorry, that was my fault, Liz. They are not as good as the people coming from the players coming from the farm of other organizations.
Other teams.
It's just the truth.
And that's it. But we knew that.
We have no superstars.
Oh, why? Because we're the 28th ranked minor league system in all baseball right now?
Yeah. But for some reason, this is a thing. There's a complacency. Okay, this is my theory. You guys can say that's a bad theory, but it's not. So suck it. Okay, this is my theory. Blue Jays fans watch Blue Jays baseball. They don't watch a lot of other teams. So they'll be like, look at these guys coming up from the minors. They're so great. They're so great. And you're like, no, man, you seen the Orioles? You seen other people's farm teams? They're wild. It's like, no. I remember with the whole Babe Schneider stuff, it's like, well.
Yeah, that was literally trapping lightning in a bottle for Babe Schneider.
For Babe Schneider, but that's it. But just because we see these glimpses of performance doesn't make our farm team more deep or more sparkly, because it's really not. And I really don't understand. And you'll see people be like, well, we're fielding a whole team of Buffalo guys. They're doing okay. It's like, no, but they're supposed to be doing really good, much better. So I feel like we have a complacency as the Jays kind of franchise, because we're used to just the dregs of everything. Again, I will never talk about this again. I'm seeing people say, Let's bring back Trevor Bauer or Trevor Richards. It's a Trevathon. Or Trevor Richards, who just got DFA'd. Let's bring him back. It's like, why are we focusing on the dregs? We're supposed to be a championship baseball club. And like every other team seems to rebuild itself competently, but yet we do not.
I mean, it's interesting. I don't know if you can see the comments for Craig.
Yes. I thought this one was...
Craig, can you see the comment from New Brunswick, Canada guy? I mean,
yes,
he has a great point. He has a great point, but where do you find that? And we don't have our only bargaining chip right now is Arjun. And I mean, if you trade him away, you're the dumbest of the dumb. Like,
you're dumb.
That kid is a superstar in the making who needs to make his way through. So what do we have to offer?
He might be the only untouchable person in this system right now, and he should be.
Yeah, but we don't. We just you just can't go out and find these guys, and that's why I think when a guy we've had some sparkles, just like you said, Liz. Like we've had some sparkles of Ernie Clement, we've had some sparkles of Nathan Lukes, we've had some sparkles of Addison Barger, but no one has come up and just started to destroy it. Like L.A. De La Cruz, they cracked the door for him. He never looked back once. He smashed through it and was like, that's it. I am going to be a Major League Baseball player and one of the best. And if you guys go back and look at his stats when he was in the minors, he wasn't that great. Like he was midline. No one was like crazy excited that the next Ricky Henderson was being brought up. Like it just wasn't. But he took the opportunity.
He was not on their top prospect list for like 3 years, Jason. To just back your point up.
Yeah.
And in fact, the year prior, I think he was going to get demoted all the way down to the bottom, and they were like, "This is all we can do for you, buddy." And he was like, "Just give me one more chance to stay up here," and they let him stay. And it's like, it's not that Ernie Clement isn't trying his ass off. I'm sure that he is, and he doesn't strike me as the guy that would the kind of guy that would half-ass it. And the same with Luke's, same with Loperfido, same with all of these guys that are sort of like just clinging on with their nails to being Major League Baseball players. Yeah. But I just don't see the like Kirk right now is giving his every single thing he can to the Blue Jays. He is the epitome of what you would want every person to do on a winning baseball team. He works his ass off. He's playing the most difficult position you can play. He does it every single day with a big ass smile on his face. And when you get down or when you get into a situation and he comes up, you're fairly confident at this point that he's going to deliver. And I don't know that you can say that, aside from maybe Springer at some points, about everyone else. And until you have everybody buying in and everybody willing to lay down and die on that field, then you're just not going to get it. I mean, Varsho, I thought he was going to spark stuff when he came back. He makes that incredible catch. He has a couple of homers and then right back to and it's amazing to me. And I think that Craig, you and I would cut off my left arm to play in the majors. And I would work, every single day harder than anyone work.
I don't want to go there.
It seems like the complacency level with the Jays is so high that it makes for really our expectations are through the roof, and then the product is shit. And it's
And to that point, that chaos that you were just alluding to, Jason, honestly, let's say, just look at the Blue Jays moves today. Jonathan Clase is a guy that I think needs to get a chance in this show, just like you gave Alan Roden. Why not truck him out there? Roden obviously had the right tools, but needed some more seasoning, right? So fine, send him back down to Buffalo where he'll get that, and then we'll talk, obviously, what that looks like after he, hopefully rakes down in the minors, right? Clase was doing that. Doubles machine, showing off his speed. Give the kid a chance, because right now, when you're not winning, that kind of, like you mentioned with Kirky, can be infectious. A young guy coming up hungry can be the difference in the world. We saw that happen a couple of years ago with the Buffalo Boys when we went on a little bit of a run. Those kind of things. It's the right things to happen. outside of that, to New Brunswick, Canada guys, comment, if you go out and get that third baseman, to trade prospect capital right now, we're not able to trade prospect capital. What you're going to end up doing is throwing a few B guys that would be hoping to get like, you'd have to go big and go for like somebody like Nolan Arenado, where you're just cashing the Cardinals for free money, then taking his contract on and throwing a few prospects back the other direction. And I'm not knocking that Nolan Arenado might help this team, but do you really need another guy that old on this team just to hope and pray for another playoff performance at this point? I don't see that happening with what I saw in the month of April. Thank God it's May, but I don't see the bats heating up as the team's weather hopefully improves here on the West Coast over the next few weeks.
I like that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, the thing is, I guess this is my question for both of you, my baseball pals. Why are the Blue Jays such trash farmers?
Oh, as far as dumpster dives for prospects?
I think at some point that you get what you can get. And I mean, you hate to, like, everybody that obviously every player that we've had on speaks very, very highly of Toronto. But if you're a young, kid from the DR and you sign it, you're looking at signing a nice contract and they're like, okay, so here's your options. You can go play in Milwaukee, and the tax, your tax bracket is like, 11%, and, it's still Milwaukee, it's cold winters and blah, 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 blah. Or you can go to Toronto, Canada's a great country to win, winters are the same, but it's a 47% tax. Like, I mean, these are the kind of things that would stop a kid who had choices, or even veterans don't seem to mind it. Like, they've already made their jack, so they're getting overpaid anyways in most cases. So they're like, oh, whatever. I mean, I'm probably still getting paid by a team in the US for an old part of my contract. So screw it. What do I care?
Yeah.
But if you're a young up and comer, I mean, the tax thing is hard. The fact that you live in a different country, there's deterrence for sure to go to the Jays.
I will say this, but this is my argument. So New York and California have similar tax situations, but they're winning. It's like they're winning. And so it's like, it's true. It's like, it's not a thing that if we were super winning and like had some momentum, you could look past and be like, well, I could get a ring there. I could look past this tax shit if I could get a ring. But it's like, no, we're trash at farming. I don't know why. Even just like, I don't know how the draft. I'm assuming why
That's where I was about to go.
Yeah. What the friggers?
So let me throw this one at you just to, okay, apparently my monitor's back now. Let me just throw this one out here. So the current Blue Jays regime took over this team for the season of 2016, right? They inherited the Athensopoulos, oh my God, I blew up the minor leagues and we tried to win a World Series, oh God, that was such a horrible time. Remember that?
Yeah.
Tulos and Prices and oh my.
I like that. That was a good time. That was a real good time.
Yep.
I like that. Yeah, that was fun.
So 2016's draft class, I'm just going to rifle through the top draft pick we got from each one of these drafts since they've taken over. And you're going to just kind of go, who the fudge are most of these people? TJ Zoik, who got the majors for a cup of coffee. Logan Warmouth. Jordan Groshans, I'm in 2019 now. Alek Manoah. Austin Martin. Gunnar Hoglund. Brandon Beria. Arjun Amala. And this past year, Treyu Savage, who is looking like a fucking monster. But he's all the way down to Dunedin would be the catch. But out of that list, did any of those people jump out as you? Was like, oh my God, they're a team savior. And I'm not saying every team in Major League Baseball aces their first pick every time, but that is a long time to
have somebody pan out.
It's 8 years. That's 8 drafts, and you have nobody to hang your hat on there
except
maybe the most recent.
And so this is my thing. It's like, well, they said they were going to fix the farm system. That's why I'm tired of these losers. I know they re-signed whatever and the other thing, but it's like we have no depth. It's like, here's the thing. It's like, it's still problematic. The system is broken. The Blue Jays player system is not functioning well. The pipeline is fucking busted.
Yeah. So our buddy down in Baltimore, Esteban, Blue Jays fan because of Jose Bautista.
That's it, man.
It.
I want to.
There you go.
Yeah, I want to. I also
that we were just talking about.
Yeah, I want to shout out Michael Borland while I'm in the city of Toronto for informing me that in fact there is a Leafs game on tonight. Thank you, Michael Borland.
Yes, there is, and there you go.
Yeah. Who are they playing? Are they playing the Panthers? They're playing Panthers. Okay, go Leafs.
Yeah.
But I cheer again for any other Canadian team against the Leafs. I don't know why. I think they're fans. I will just side note. I'm mad at how expensive tickets are and that I can never roll down and go. I despise the Leafs for the fact that they prioritize rich people. I don't know. There you go.
You know what I find funny, Liz? This is just a little bit of an aside, and I just, it's funny how I just talked about this today, that I feel like female sports fans are much more apt to cheer for, like, let's hypothetically say you're a Canucks fan, and then the Canucks either are eliminated or they don't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
A female sports fan will then move to the next Canadian team that they feel like they want to cheer for.
Yeah.
Where I do not.
Yeah.
I literally, if it's not Ottawa or Winnipeg, because who cares about both of them? Sorry if you're a fan of Ottawa or Winnipeg.
Yeah.
But Habs, no way.
Okay.
Oilers, you have got to be kidding me.
I like their
I would literally rather burn my house down.
Okay.
Flames, like, seriously? And then you get into the Leafs. And let's just consider that, and this is a very Canadian thing to do, is when the Canucks were in the Stanley Cup final in 2011, not one person that wasn't a Canucks fan prior to that playoff starting cheered for them, except for the women. So it's an interesting thing to me to watch this sort of, like, I just can't, like, if and then somebody said to me, well, what about if it was the Jets and the Leafs in the Stanley Cup final? I mean, I literally, I don't think I'd watch 1 second of it. And the worst part of it is the only reason is because I want the Canucks to win the cup more than I want anyone to win the cup.
That's good. I see that. I will argue opposite. Like she's saying. So, like, I don't really have a sword in the fight. And a lot of, I will not say, but, like, I'm not a big hockey fan, but playoff hockey is really fun. And that's it. Playoff hockey is super fun. That's all I got, man. Yeah.
That's because that you go from that transition of, like, the referees calling everything to, let them fight.
Oh, no. Playoff hockey is awesome. But I will say, when you cannot grow your local fan base, it sucks. Like, it's like I got into baseball because I could waddle down 5 times a week for $10. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what happened. And I lived in Ottawa and I could never go because it was not close. I got to Toronto and I was like, one of my friends was like, oh, I'm going to the Leafs game. And I was like, how? Because it's like not a thing. And she's like, my cousin is an Islander. My cousin is Cal Clutterbuck from the Islanders. And I'm like, you need to know.
Shout out to Cal Clutterbuck.
Who's played a lot of games, like, good for Cal. And so anyway, but like that's it. So like I'm sad, but like women's hockey, I'm down for that. I can afford to pay that.
Esteban must have the ultimate hockey package going on tonight. That's all I'm going to say. He's
I love that, man.
Scepters on.
I will say this about the P-Dub. Vancouver just got a P-Dub team, and we're actually pretty excited about it. I was one of those guys up until a number of years ago where I wasn't the biggest fan of, like, women doing color or anything like that. It just, because of what we grew up with, it just sounded weird. And now there's so many good, talented, well-versed, well-read, sports educated women that are out there that I feel like it improves the product, where, like, women's hockey, when it was even Olympic hockey, was so poorly.
It was bad.
It was bad. And now, I mean, at least the girls have really, or the networks at least have really done their due diligence to make sure that the product is matching the broadcast is matching the product, because these are excellent hockey players. Yeah. And even 5 years ago, lots of our friends have girls that play very high level hockey, and you just get to a certain point where you're like, okay, it's either and beer league starts much earlier for women's hockey than it does for men. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, you could go to university now and you can get a scholarship, and you can.
That's cool.
Like, flag football for girls down in the U.S. is the fastest growing sport in the world, and they're talking about making college flag football teams. It's going to be next year. They're going to have them. And these girls
right up there with pickleball, man.
Insane athletes, like insane athletes. They could compete with any men's team in a flag football situation. I mean, you take out the physicality of it, and you just if it's going brain against brain and athletic ability, the women are going to take you down. I mean, they'll take you down. But it's
100%.
interesting for me to what you said, Liz, is it's hard for a person to become a fan of a sport they can't afford. And then it's even worse when the affordable sport is owned by a really large conglomerate, and that conglomerate won't spend the proper money to make things happen. Like, the renos to the stadium are great. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, who gives a shit? If your weekend tickets for the kids are $75 for 500s, like grow your young
families. To get frickin' Minecraft tickets like we did the other night.
Well, like the thing, and like the thing is that, like, you know, I've seen, like, I remember, I think it was like Baltimore, like, we're gonna be trash, we're doing a rebuild, kids come for free, But like, I always get really upset how Rogers isn't nice to its young fan base. It's like they give them a deal, but it's like 10% off is $55, $75, 500 level. It's like I don't know, man. You know?
Yeah.
So now that I want to change gears, I'm going to kind of give you the wonderful. I'm going to steal a page out of that show. What's it called? Intentional Talk. Now we're going to do the "What's that" moment here and change it. So just happened to come across this baseball clip of power lineman doing something.
Oh, that's terrifying. Okay, so for those listening, it's a power line man hitting a ball to another guy sitting on a power line, and all I can think of is
142 feet.
That's terrifying. These are the bravest men in the whole land.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. Instant replay. Bam. Catches the ball, full extension.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine hitting the ball that straight and being in my cleats doing that. So
no, you couldn't pay me to go up that pole. And you couldn't pay me to, I don't know. I don't want to do anything there. Pass on all those things.
That's the guy I used to do that. I just think it's hilarious that's the stupid shit that people do, but that is what it is. So let's wrap this up here, and we'll go for the three. I like where there's like
we have like nothing. The Jays are such trash. We're like, let's talk about other shit.
Yeah, let's throw a guy up on a pole here.
Let's do that. We're doing
intentional talk. They used to do the "What was that?" moment. It would show some dumb baseball like that. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to do this. I did. And so, on that note, let's go around the horn here as we try to close this out successfully this evening, and hopefully we walk away with a W. Thank you, everybody, for turning in. We appreciate it. The 126 of you in the cheap seats right now. Listen to our shenanigans. Appreciate it. The 3 up, 3 down segment, Jason, this was your brainchild. We go around the horn here, and we pick one thing that's up and one thing that's down over the last week in Blue Jays baseball. Only a few downers so far, but Liz, you're on the plate first.
Okay, cool. My uppie, I like their starting pitching. It's been pretty good. I don't think I have a lot of complaints with the starting pitching, so that's my up. My down is like the rest of the pitching, notably whoever is in the later half of the game. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Not a fan. Jason, go for it, bud.
My down. I'm going to start with my down. I normally go the other way, but I am going to definitely start with my down today. And my down is Jeff Hoffman. Jeff Hoffman has not pitched enough innings for him to be appearing as tired as he is. And if he's going to make mistakes, he can't make them where he's been making them, because he's giving up home runs to not great parts of lineups. Like it'd be different if Aaron Judge, and Soto and a few other guys had homers against him, but the guys that are hitting homers against him, I've never even heard their names before. And it's like, if you're that late in the game and your splitter's not working, please don't try and make it work over the plate. So Hoffman is my down, and I am going to go behind the dish for my up. Kirk has been, he's been the guiding light. He's been the engine that's running the team. He has a giant smile on his face. I can't say enough good things about Kirk right now. And if there's teams out there in the majors that aren't trying to pry this guy out of the Jays' cold, dead hands, they're stupid, because he's right in his price. Got 3 years probably of this where he's just going to be tip top Alejandro Kirk. And so he's my uppie.
Happy.
It's officially 3 years. We signed him for 3 more seasons. He's going to be, oh no, do we 6? He's actually a Blue Jay until 2030.
It was a bunch. It was like a bunch. It was many.
Yeah, I think it's
not.
2030.
It was not forever, but it was for some.
Yes. So I agree with you on that flat out. But I'm going to give one bullpen person a major shout out here as my up. I don't know if you all have seen what Mason Fluharty's been up to, but I'm going to knock on desk that it continues. He's retired 42 straight batters.
That's a lot of batters. That's more batters than I would expect.
Or at least that's what I read.
Because I was mad at him last week, and that's the thing is like I was mad at him last week, and I was like I'm still mad at you for last week. So
I gotta find that stat again because that sounds like a lot, but I read it and then it vanished on the Twitterverse. So, but either way, he has been a good lefty for us out of the bullpen. So I want to give credit was Krez due, regardless if that number is fake or real or made up, whatever it is. So
okay, I like that.
On the Debbie Downer side, as we want to get to here, I'm worried about Bowden Francis a little bit. And
I am too, sir. Sorry, I am also worried about Bowden. I don't know, man. I hope he works it out. He'll be like one of our pitchers that goes into the mystery spot. You know, and by that I mean like the Springfield mystery spot where it's like that's where Alek Manoah is, and like who else is in there? Oh, Max Scherzer.
And if I recall, Ozzie Smith.
Yeah, like Ozzie Smith's still flopping around in there, but like that's like where we put our pitchers, and we're like maybe they come back, but maybe they don't.
Oh my god, yeah. Darryl Strawberry was the only one that survived that infamous softball season. Just saying,
it's so good. It's so good.
That might be still my favorite outside of my baseball love. That might be one of the best written Simpsons episodes I've ever watched. Highly recommend the softball episode, which I don't know if you know this fun fact. And the only reason I know this is I happened to be in Cooperstown the day that it was inducted. That episode is actually inducted and enshrined in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
So
really part of baseball
that's
history.
Great because there's this episode of The Simpsons where Homer becomes a mascot for the Springfield Isotopes. Okay. And he does a baby elephant walk. It's a whole good luck thing. And every time the Jays lose, I get it like in my head where they're like, Isotopes lose. And I'm always like, oh, Jays lose. Same. Like Craig, I said it to Rachel when we were walking out from the game, like Isotopes lose. Anyway. Yeah. So
the best part is that just to say I love the town of Albuquerque because they actually changed their name for their minor league team to be the Albuquerque Isotopes. So
that's great. I've seen their hats. Yeah. They had good hats. Yeah.
A few years ago.
Anyway, Bowden Francis. Should we be concerned there?
Francis,
what's up with that?
I'm calling it a down, just because I'm worried, but I don't know if there's real fear there yet. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like,
It's not Manoah.
No,
it's not Manoah.
Exactly. The beautiful thing about that for Manoah is, or not Manoah, you all got me going now. The beautiful thing for Francis is he was never expected to be the ace of this staff. He's meant to be the 4th or 5th starter for this rotation. Even when you look at his stats for what he's done, he's still a 4th or 5th starter as far as those metrics and that measuring stick, I used to say. But he has been just so good. It was rough watching his last few starts, and I couldn't believe he got pulled on some of them, but because he only threw like 79 pitches or something like that the other night, right?
I don't know. I'm often mad when they pull, and I'm mad when they don't pull. So lately, I'm just like, you should just pull.
Right. Yeah, there's that too. But I'm also in here to Jason's point that if Jeff Hoffman and those guys are overworked, maybe one of them just got to stay out there a little longer one night.
Good point. Good point. Hard.
I don't know. It's a 50-50, right? Flip the coin. Max Scherzer it. So, breaking news though. I know there's not a lot going on yet because the ball game hasn't started, but I was bringing up Trey Yusevich, that Blue Jays' most recent draft pick again earlier. They're not quite done with the game in Dunedin yet, but let me just play this wonderful clip here while we are wrapping up the show, and I'm going to read you off the stat line on the youngster because it's some good frickin' stuff. He looking pretty good here. He threw 5 innings again, so that's the 4th or 5th start in a row that he's 5 innings. 7 strikeouts, only allowed 1 earned run in his start for the Dunedin Blue Jays tonight. So that one was for you, Esteban, seeing you're all over the watching every sport tonight.
I will add this to commentary for viewers who are listening. So I'm looking at a Blue Jay in the Road Grays throw to a much nicer uniform. It looks like it is a purple uniform it's the vest, or it's a white uniform with the vest and the purple underneath, and that's slamming good. I don't know who these people are, but they are beating us in the uniform game.
Yeah, and that honestly, a lot of the Florida Coast League or Florida State League tends to have some they've really outside the Blue Jays went full in on a lot of the fun character kind of stuff.
We don't. That's the Dunedin Blue Jays. No, we don't. We should. It should be something funner there. It should be like I don't know. It should be. They should do something fun. Like how.
I'm working on a team name.
The Bisons were doing
Myers Mighty Muscles.
Oh, love that. So the Bisons had the throwback jerseys on, and there's a picture of Varsho in his throwback Bison's vest jersey with the red under it, and he looked awesome.
Yep. Yeah, we lost Jason here. It looks like
Mighty Muscles, affiliated Twins. I love that. Let's go.
Yeah. The Mighty Muscles are a fun one as far as those kind of things. So, and I'm seeing that this happened. I'll make sure I retweet this out. Does anybody watch Weekend Update? It's Jamie Oliver. He used to be on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart and stuff. He's actually he did a bit this past week on his show that he's actually offering his marketing team to any minor league baseball team in all of baseball to basically make the whatever the fun team name is, and that's perfectly fitting to that town. I'm dying for the Buffalo Bisons to be the ones that take them up off on that offer as we get Jason hopefully back here in the chat. And I just think it's one of those things that is so silly, so fun. That's what minor league baseball is supposed to be. I know it's serious, and these guys are trying to play for
minor league baseball parties.
They get to Major League Baseball, but correct. And
minor league baseball parties harder. And that's I get really sad. I'm because this is the thing. It's in the States, you guys have baseball everywhere. It's there's a minor league team, another team, and it's all these regional teams. And I'm nah. I mean, we do have the inter-county baseball team. My personal
favorite here.
Yeah, and then we have, of course, the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it's there's so much more baseball in the States, and that does make sense. And what with it being your game and all, but I'm jealous.
Yes. So, but to that point, the Rocket City Trash Pandas might have the best logo in minor league baseball. If you have not seen that one, check that one out. It is really amusing and really, really fun.
Sugarland Space Cowboys.
There it is. I thought you were about to go the what was the? I thought you were about to go. What was the team that was the Clam Catchers or whatever that had the new?
Oh no, but they didn't do that well. They did a bad job because they didn't sell the hats with the clam on it, and I would have worn the hell out of that hat.
So
is there one that's got an oyster on it?
That's the one.
Yeah.
So this is my thing, Jason.
Oyster.
There's dong references everywhere. There's cannonballs and other dong references, and I'm nah, give me that one. Give me the female reference. Throw it on a hat. That's what's up. Represent.
Liz, I'm going to give you the better one here because they are doing a limited run of those hats.
Yeah.
And they're going to gift the charity to cancer research for women.
Yeah, but they didn't put they did not put the logo on it.
They said that on the Jamie Oliver the other night.
They didn't. If you go to the team store,
those jerks.
Yeah, they put the bird on it.
It's like a bird. First time ever.
And this because they put it on the side patch, but they didn't. I'll go back and look, but they didn't release it.
Okay. So, but anyways, let's now that Jason's back, let's do our picks to click, and this one's a rough one.
Okay.
Because we have Jimenez, Barger, Varsho, and Vladdy. And I'm trying to get the stats up because
did I win? Did I win this time?
I think you win by almost default, but I'm going to bring up the stats anyways. I definitely didn't win with Barger. Jimenez was horrendous. Varsho had a few homers. That's the only one I'm wondering about as far as tiebreakers.
He had two, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, but those would be his only two hits.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to do it right?
Yeah, Vladdy went 1 for 4, or had 1 home run, 4 RBIs, and batted .316. So Liz is taking now a commanding lead, but at least she can't take Vladdy this week, Jason. So, Liz, that means it's your pick. You won.
I did.
Who are you thinking?
Okay, so I really want to pick. I want to pick Jet and Carter's carrot cake. That would be my pick to click. I feel like that's the answer, that carrot cake, but I can't pick it because it's not an MLB playing cake.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick. I don't know. Let's go Springer.
Going Springy.
Yeah. Usually I pick Bo, but nah. Let's go Springer.
There you go. All right, Mr. Jason Lyons, your pick, bud.
Well, I feel like there are no really great picks, but with Class A being brought up, I'm gonna give him a try.
All right, like it.
There you go. Put it on.
Why not? Steal a couple of bags, get him in a game
Let's
or two.
go. Yes, I like his attitude. I like this. This is good.
He's already in the lineup tonight, batting ninth, which honestly I like that because he gets the bow bump, hopefully.
Yeah.
I feel like I need a W, so I'm just going to take Vlad.
That's the way. That's the game.
And our guest spot, because Mr. Scott Belford is too busy. I'm just kidding. On that note, we are going to have to put. It looks like Ernie Clement was the worst performer in a full-time role last week.
Love that.
So he's going to get penciled in, Ernie.
Ernie.
Okay. All right. Is there any other topics the two of you would like to hit before we wander off?
The only thing I'd like to quickly mention is if you're people out there in the internet land, if you're looking for something to get behind, North Shore Baseball has a really good 50-50 raffle for Mother's Day. I had the link up earlier. I'll have it on my Facebook and Instagram. I'll put it up there. Make sure it's there. It's super easy. You just log in, buy a couple of ducats, and hope you win. It's a straight 50-50 split, and it helps North Shore Baseball out huge. So if you're looking to get behind, if you live in Vancouver and you don't have a 50-50 because your Canucks are out of the playoffs, then maybe you could buy a ticket for that.
There you go.
Get us the links, Jason. We'll put it up on the Twitter account.
Will do.
Speaking of things we're going to put on the Twitter account, I don't have any use that this fits in my wardrobe at any level from hanging out with Liz over the weekend. So we're going to put this little guy.
We're doing a giveaway.
Bass Jazz for a giveaway on our Twitter account. So make sure you head over and get a like, share, and follow once I get this guy up on there. And we will see if you are the lovely victor of a City Connect basketball jersey of none other than Chris Bassett.
There you go.
There you go. And on the other last note, I hope you've all noticed the lovely advertising we've started trying to do over the last couple of days. That we have our first rock star joining us on May 28th. We are going to have Shane Told of Silverstein going to be on the show. He's going to talk all things Blue Jays and obviously rocking out. So screaming for music, screaming for Blue Jays, whichever way it ends up working out. But he's apparently a huge Blue Jays fan and wants to come chit chat with us.
Well, that's why he came to the
vibes by the end of May.
He came to the number one, podcasts. That's us. It's pretty clear.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Good deal. So, anyways, on that, Blue Jays fans, make sure you tune in here every Wednesday night. We will be here to talk all things Blue Jays baseball with you, and we will have all sorts of fun with guests and whatnot coming up. We are also going to have another resurgence of Bob File is going to be joining us in June as
Bob
well.
File's back? Yeah.
All things Phillies. So we're going to have him back and talk more, and we're going to obviously be here to be your grieving counsel if you want to talk out anything going on in Blue Jays baseball if things don't turn around. So make sure you join us every week, and we'll talk soon. Catch us wherever you get your podcasting pleasures if you missed the live show, and have a great week. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC, and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!